G'day beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at Aurora, her stats, her scaling, and a suggestion for a build. I have spent all night downloading this patch for ridiculous reasons, and I haven't had a chance to PvP yet, but we'll go over everything. I know how she works, I have some tips and some information for you, and we'll just go from there. Okay, so first up, taking a look at her stats, you can see she's 7 for basic attack, 6 for ability attack, 3 for durability, and 8 for mobility. She starts off, as most fighters do, with 550 health and ends up at 1588. Health regen starts at 2, ends up at 6.2. Mana ends up at 704. The mana regen ends up at 2. And her armor, her basic attack armor, ends up at 31.5. Okay, now she does need quite a bit of mana to be used, because that is where the bulk of her damage is actually going to come from, especially if you're not building her for straight up damage. So looking at the mana regen, that is probably where I would suggest some of your points get spent, apart from damage. Okay, so if we move on and actually look at her basic attack, which is called Frozen Sword, starts doing 64.5 damage standard, which is on the high end. It's on the Feng Mao end. She gets 1.5 per level, same as Feng Mao, I believe, which ends up at around about 86, I think. She only has 0.6 power scaling, so you're only going to get 60 damage for every 100 power you put on your build, 10% cleave, and a cooldown for her basic attack is 1.2 seconds, which is quite fast. So attack speed there is going to be pretty helpful if you are going for damage. Next up we have Glacial Charge. Aurora dashes forward, leaving behind her a trail of ice that other heroes can walk on. She deals ability damage to any enemy she dashes through. Right, so as far as damage goes, at max level it does 160, it costs 80 mana the whole way through the upgrades. It ends up going over 1500 units, which is just inside a ranger's attack range. Power scaling is 0.35, although this is more of an escape zoning tool, so you're not expecting it to do too much damage, and the cooldown ends up at 14 seconds, which is quite nice. This is a great ability. You can reach so many hard to reach places that only very few heroes can actually reach, and you can actually allow your teammates to follow behind and get to those same spots. You can also use this as a zoning tool, and it's really good to use at the start of a round to block off your minion wave, to ensure that your minion wave ends up close to your tower, which means that you can safely farm earlier on in the game. So don't underestimate this. It's a very good ability. It's very good to use on your way to your ultimate. Just dash in the middle of everyone and hit your ultimate. Next up we have Frozen Simulacrum. Aurora leaps 700 units in the direction she is moving, leaving behind an icy statue of herself. The replica withdraws aggro from enemy minions and towers and stays in the world for 7 seconds. So obviously the duration is 7 seconds, it costs 45 mana the whole way through, and it ends up at a 10-second cooldown. Now I wouldn't recommend upgrading this too much until you're forced to. I would just grab it when you feel like grabbing it, and then not upgrade it until you have to. It's a good ability. I'm not sure if it's actually bugged right now, because if you do actually go in alt, use your circle, get a couple of kills, and then use from Frozen Simulacrum, the minions still do actually attack you. They don't go for the replica. I'm not sure, as I said, if that's a bug or not, but just when you thought that tower diving was hopefully never going to be a thing, and they're going to tone it down, this is disgusting for tower diving. You literally just walk on for a split second, use this ability, and then you can run the whole way through the tower. It's like having your own tank for 7 seconds. It's a really good ability. Get it back nice and fast, so you can, as I said, you can use your other abilities to get in, use your ult, do a bit of damage, and use this to pop out. Alright, next up we have Hoarfrost. Aurora creates a ring of Hoarfrost on the ground around her. Touching the ring deals ability damage and applies a root. Okay, so the ability damage ends up at 225 with a power scaling of 0.6, so once again you'll get 60 extra damage for every 100 power you put on. The root duration starts at 1.25 and ends up at 2 seconds. The mana cost starts at 50 and ends up at 65, which is still not that expensive. The duration of the ring starts at 4.5 and goes up to 6 seconds, and the cooldown is 14 seconds. This is a really, really good ability. Okay, so when you actually put it down, if the actual ring of Hoarfrost does not touch anyone, it will not root anyone, it will not apply any damage, but it is amazing. It's a great zoning tool. If you're coming in for a gank, you can put it in a tight spot that you know they're going to have to go through, and then start attacking them. They've got the option then to either push in a direction that might be dangerous or walk towards your Hoarfrost. They hit that, they take damage, and they're rooted for a couple of seconds and they're gone. It's also extremely powerful if you can manage to zip yourself into a group of enemies, use your ultimate, and then straight away use Hoarfrost. Because the ultimate will end up finishing before Hoarfrost does, and then obviously because they've got damage, they're going to go to walk away, they're going to hit Hoarfrost, and they're going to cop even more damage. Everything sort of synergizes really, really well together. And speaking of the ultimate, it is Cryoseism. Aurora freezes an area, applying a max movement speed slow to enemies for 2 seconds. After a few seconds, the ice on the enemies explodes, stunning the target and causing ability damage and a small AoE around each target. Enemies inside the explosion AoEs will have a new explosion applied to them. So the ability damage starts at 180 and then 280. Might sound rather small for an ultimate, but it is great. The power scaling is 0.75, so 75 power, 75 damage for every 100 power. The movement speed slow is always 300. The slow duration lasts for 1.5 seconds. And then it takes 2 seconds for them to explode, and then they're stunned for a second. Costs 75 mana flat, and the cooldown starts at 130 and ends up at 90. It may not seem, to some people I think it doesn't seem like the greatest ultimate. It's actually ridiculously good, especially if you are synergizing it with all your other abilities, and you have, say, a Decker, or a Howitzer, or a Gideon on your team, or a Steel and an Arbash, sort of anyone. She synergizes so well with so many people, and this ability is disgusting. If you can manage to get yourself in around a group of enemies while they have a pack of minions right next to them, this is ridiculous. You get in there, you let that ultimate off, use your Hoarfrost, and then jump out, and oh my god, they're going to cop a beating. Moving on to the build that I'm suggesting, I'm running with the Warlord. I've run 3 builds in solo today, just giving her a go, and I ended up using this. The Warlord, Healer Token, Strike Token, Mana Potion. Pretty standard with the consumables. It's pretty much what I always use. The lovely thing about her is that she has Fury, so 3 cheap Madstone Gems get that early game power. And this is pretty much my Murdoch build, funnily enough. So we have Brawler's Ward as a 9-point card, 3 casts on that. We have a Spear of the Rift Hunter with 2 major casts and a minor wound. A Spear of the Rift Hunter with 3 major wounds. And then the Brand of the Iron Eater, with a lesser drain and 2 drains for your lifesteal, 20 lifesteal. And that's going to put a fair amount of crit chance on there. You're going to have 68% crit chance. Then we have obviously a Blade of Aurora with 3 minor casts, and a Whirling Wand with 2 major casts and a Brutal Kinetic. She already has great attack speed, but this is just going to make it even better. So you are a glass cannon with this build. You are going to do a lot of damage, and you've got a lot of CC, so if you play your cards right, you're actually going to do stupidly well. So give it a try. I'm actually screwing around with a couple of other builds that revolve around cooldown reduction and a little bit more mana than anything else, but we'll see how I go. I need to get myself to bed. I've been up all night, but everybody, jump in solo and give her a go before you jump into PvP, and please don't contribute to International Q-Dodge Day. If you if you enjoyed this video in any way, shape or form, please drop me a like down below, leave me a comment, let me know what you think, subscribe for more Paragon content. But that said, thank you so much for watching. I love your face, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.